Evangeline slammed the door of her sleek black SUV, the New York rain pounding like accusations against the pavement, her heart racing as she spotted Miriam across the crowded street, unchanged yet utterly transformed in her eyes. "You left me to rot in that hell," Evangeline whispered to herself, clenching her fists, the scar on her wrist a brutal reminder of the night that shattered everything. But now, with power in her veins and fire in her soul, she stepped forward, ready to unravel the lies and reclaim the love that had been stolen. In the bustling heart of Manhattan, where skyscrapers pierced the autumn sky like ambitious dreams, Evangeline Harper first crossed paths with Miriam Ruiz. Evangeline, a 28-year-old architect fresh out of Columbia University, was sketching designs for a sustainable housing project in her favorite coffee shop on Bleecker Street. The aroma of freshly ground beans mingled with the chatter of locals, creating a symphony of urban life. She wore a simple plaid shirt and jeans, her dark curls tied back in a ponytail, revealing the determination etched in her hazel eyes. Miriam, 30, was a journalist for the New York Times, specializing in social justice issues. With her olive skin glowing under the warm cafe lights and her straight black hair cascading over her shoulders, she exuded a quiet confidence that turned heads. That day she was typing furiously on her laptop, her brow furrowed over an article about immigrant rights in the city. When their eyes met, Evangeline accidentally knocking over Miriam's coffee in a clumsy reach for sugar, it was as if the world paused. "I'm so sorry," Evangeline stammered, grabbing napkins to blot the spill. "Let me buy you another." "What were you having?" "Latte." "Espresso." Miriam laughed, a sound like wind chimes in the chaos. "Double espresso black. And no worries, spills happen in this city. I'm Miriam." "Evangeline." "Evie to friends." They shook hands, and in that touch, something electric passed between them. It wasn't just attraction. It was recognition, as if their souls had been waiting for this moment. Their conversation flowed effortlessly from coffee mishaps to shared passions. Evangeline spoke of her vision for eco-friendly buildings that could house the homeless, drawing from her own upbringing in a struggling Brooklyn family. Miriam shared stories of her Mexican-American heritage, how her parents had crossed the border for a better life, fueling her drive to expose inequalities. By the time the cafe closed, they had exchanged numbers, promising to meet again. Over the next few months, their connection deepened. Dates turned into weekends exploring Central Park, where they'd picnic under blooming cherry blossoms, or attend Broadway shows, laughing at the absurdity of life. Evangeline found in Miriam a partner who challenged her intellectually, while Miriam discovered in Evangeline a softness that balanced her relentless pursuit of truth. One crisp evening in October, as leaves crunched underfoot in Washington Square Park, Miriam confessed her feelings. "Evie, I've never felt this way before. With you, it's like I've found a missing piece of myself." Evangeline, her heart pounding, pulled Miriam close and kissed her. A gentle exploratory kiss that blossomed into passion. It was their first, marking the beginning of a love story woven into the fabric of the city. But love in New York isn't without its shadows. Evangeline's firm was under pressure from a corrupt developer, Victor Lang, who wanted to bulldoze historic neighborhoods for luxury condos. Miriam was investigating him for her paper, uncovering bribes and shady deals. Their worlds collided when Evangeline was assigned to a project tied to Lang's empire. "I can't do this," Evangeline confided one night in Miriam's cozy apartment in the East Village, surrounded by bookshelves and string lights. "It's against everything I believe in." Miriam held her, stroking her hair. "Then don't. We'll fight it together. You're not alone anymore." Their bond grew stronger amid the adversity. Holidays came, Thanksgiving with Miriam's family in Queens, where Evangeline was welcomed with open arms and plates of tamales. Christmas in Brooklyn with Evangeline's mom, who saw the light in her daughter's eyes and whispered, "She's the one, isn't she?" By spring they were inseparable. Evangeline moved into Miriam's place, their lives intertwining like the vines on the brownstone facades. Laughter filled their home, debates over politics turned into make-up cuddles on the couch, watching old films like Carol, that mirrored their own romance. Yet tension brewed. Lang's threats escalated. Anonymous calls warned Miriam to drop her story. Evangeline received pressure at work to comply or lose her job. One fateful night, after a heated argument about safety, They attended a gala fundraiser for LGBTQ+ rights at the Met. Dressed in elegant gowns, Evangeline in emerald green, Miriam in deep red. They danced under crystal chandeliers, whispering promises of forever. As the night wound down, they slipped away to a quiet balcony overlooking the city lights. "No matter what, I love you," Miriam said, her voice trembling. Evangeline kissed her deeply. "Always." But in the shadows danger lurked. A black car idled below, and as they left, a figure approached. What happened next would change everything. A setup, a betrayal in the making, leading to that one night where Evangeline disappeared. The gala's afterglow faded as Evangeline and Miriam hailed a cab back to the East Village. Rain began to fall, turning the streets into glistening mirrors of neon signs. Inside the taxi, Miriam leaned her head on Evangeline's shoulder, their fingers laced. "Tonight was perfect," Miriam murmured. "It was," Evangeline agreed, but unease gnawed at her. Earlier, she'd overheard a conversation between Lang and a colleague, hinting at handling the journalist problem. She pushed it aside, not wanting to ruin the moment. Arriving home, they changed into pajamas and curled up with wine. Miriam worked on her article while Evangeline sketched. Midnight approached when a knock echoed through the apartment. "Who could that be?" Miriam asked, peering through the peephole. "It's a delivery." She opened the door to a man in a hoodie, holding a package. Before Evangeline could react, he shoved inside, brandishing a knife. "Where's the drive?" he snarled, eyes wild. Panic surged. Miriam had a USB drive with evidence against Lang: photos, emails, recordings. "I don't know what you're talking about." Miriam lied, backing away. Evangeline grabbed a lamp, swinging it at the intruder. Chaos erupted. Furniture overturned, screams piercing the night. The man lunged at Miriam, slicing her arm. Evangeline tackled him, but he overpowered her, slamming her against the wall. In the struggle, she wrested the knife away and stabbed him in self-defense. He collapsed, blood pooling. Miriam, bleeding, called 911. But as sirens wailed, Evangeline realized the horror. The man was dead. Fingerprints on the knife were hers. Lang's setup was clear. He'd frame her for murder to silence them both. Police arrived, chaos ensuing. Evangeline, in shock, whispered to Miriam, "I have to go. They'll pin this on me. Protect yourself." "No, Evie. We fight this together," Miriam pleaded, tears streaming. But Evangeline bolted into the night, vanishing into the subway tunnels. She knew Lang's reach extended to the NYPD. Evidence would be twisted. Heartbroken, she fled, leaving Miriam devastated. The next days were hell for Miriam. Police questioned her, labeling Evangeline a fugitive. The article was suppressed, Lang's lawyers threatening lawsuits. Miriam bandaged her arm, but the wound in her heart festered. "Why did you leave me?" she sobbed alone. Evangeline, meanwhile, hitchhiked to Chicago, using cash from her emergency fund. She dyed her hair blonde, adopted the alias Elena Vance, and found work as a waitress in a diner. Nights were tormented by memories of Miriam's touch, her laugh. "I did it to protect her," she told herself, but doubt crept in. Months turned to a year. In Chicago, Evangeline enrolled in night classes for business, channeling her architecture skills into urban planning. She met allies in the LGBTQ+ community, sharing stories anonymously. One, a lawyer named Sarah, helped her understand frame-ups. "You need evidence to clear your name," Sarah advised. Evangeline began investigating Lang remotely, hacking public records with borrowed library computers. She discovered his ties to organized crime. More victims silenced. Determination grew. She wouldn't just survive, she'd thrive. By the second year, she moved to San Francisco, starting a small consulting firm for sustainable development. Her designs won awards, attracting investors. Elena Vance became a name in green architecture, her firm growing to employ dozens. Wealth accumulated, but loneliness persisted. Dreams of Miriam haunted her, wondering if she'd moved on, if she hated her. Back in New York, Miriam threw herself into work, rising to senior reporter. She dated sporadically, but no one compared to Evangeline. Whispers of betrayal lingered. Friends suggested Evangeline had abandoned her out of fear. Miriam defended her in private, but doubt seeded. One day, Miriam received an anonymous tip. evidence proving the intruder's connection to Lang. It was a breadcrumb from Evangeline, sent via a burner phone. Miriam's heart raced. Evie was alive. But why not come back? As the third year dawned, Evangeline, now powerful with a multimillion-dollar company, decided it was time. She gathered proof. Witness statements, financial trails linking Lang to the attack. With Sarah's help, she prepared to return. In New York, Miriam was engaged to a colleague, Alex, a safe choice, not passionate. The wedding loomed, but her thoughts drifted to Evangeline. Then a news article. Elena Vance, the rise of a green mogul. The photo stopped Miriam's heart. It was Evie, disguised but unmistakable. Conflict brewed. Miriam confronted her feelings, calling off the engagement. "I can't marry you when my heart belongs to someone else," she told Alex. Evangeline boarded a flight to JFK, steeling herself. The city lights welcomed her like an old lover. She checked into a hotel, plotting her next move. Expose Lang, then find Miriam. But fate intervened. At a press conference for her firm's expansion, Miriam was there, covering the story. Their eyes locked across the room, shock, pain, love igniting anew. Evangeline's press conference at the Javits Center buzzed with journalists, investors, and city officials. She stood at the podium, poised in a tailored suit, her now shoulder-length hair framing a face hardened by exile. "Today, Vance Eco Designs announces our New York branch, committed to revitalizing underserved communities," she declared, her voice steady. Miriam, in the front row, clutched her notebook, heart thundering. It was her Evangeline, alive, successful but distant. As questions flew, Miriam raised her hand. "Ms. Vance, how does your past influence your work on social justice?" Evangeline's eyes met hers, a flicker of recognition. "My past taught me resilience. Sometimes you must disappear to rebuild stronger." The room applauded, but Miriam felt the words like a dagger. Afterward, Miriam cornered her in a hallway. "Evie, it's you. What the hell happened?" Evangeline glanced around, pulling her into a side room. "Miriam, I never stopped loving you. But I had to leave to protect us." Tears welled in Miriam's eyes. "Protect us? You left me alone, accused of aiding a fugitive. I almost lost everything." Evangeline explained the frame-up, showing files on her phone. "Lang sent that man. I killed him in self-defense, but his connections would have buried me. I fled to gather proof." Miriam absorbed it, anger mixing with relief. "Why not contact me sooner? I thought you abandoned me." "I couldn't risk it. But I sent tips. Did you get them?" Miriam nodded, softening. They embraced, the years melting away in that hug. "Come home," Miriam whispered. Reunion wasn't simple. Evangeline stayed in her hotel, wary. They met secretly, coffee in hidden cafes, walks in disguise through Brooklyn. Passion reignited, conversations deep into the night about lost time. But shadows loomed. Lang, sensing threat, hired investigators. He discovered Elena Vance was Evangeline Harper. Panic set in. He needed to silence her again. Meanwhile, Miriam's ex, Alex, jealous and suspicious, dug into Evangeline's past. In a twist of betrayal, Alex leaked info to Lang, hoping to win Miriam back. "She's dangerous," Alex told herself, justifying the act. Evangeline pressed charges against Lang with her evidence. A trial loomed, headlines screaming. "Fugitive architect returns to expose corruption." Drama escalated at a pre-trial hearing. Lang's lawyer cross-examined Evangeline, twisting facts. "You fled because you're guilty, didn't you?" "No," Evangeline retorted. "I fled because your client tried to kill us." Miriam testified, her voice breaking. "She saved my life that night. But betrayal struck." Alex approached Miriam privately. "Evie's not who you think. She's been with others in San Francisco. I have proof." Photos arrived anonymously, Evangeline with women at events, innocent but misleading. Miriam confronted her. "Did you move on? Was I just a memory?" Evangeline, hurt, explained. "They were friends, networking. I was faithful in my heart." Doubt poisoned Miriam. 3 years, Evie. I grieved you." The argument exploded in Central Park, rain mirroring their tears. "Maybe we can't go back," Miriam said, walking away. Evangeline, devastated, threw herself into the trial. Witnesses emerged. former employees of Lang, corroborating her story. The net tightened. In a moment of vulnerability, Evangeline visited her mother's grave in Brooklyn, whispering apologies. "I lost her again, Mom." Miriam, wrestling emotions, investigated Alex's claims. Discovering the leak to Lang, fury ignited. "You betrayed me," she accused Alex. Alex confessed. "I did it for us. She's trouble." Miriam ended their friendship, realizing her own insecurities. She reached out to Evangeline. "I believe you. Let's fight together." Reconciled, they prepared for the climax. Lang, cornered, attempted one last strike, hiring thugs to intimidate Evangeline. In a tense alley chase in Hell's Kitchen, Evangeline evaded them, calling police. The trial peaked. Lang took the stand, perjuring himself. Evangeline's lawyer dismantled him with evidence. Jury deliberated. Guilty on all counts. Conspiracy, attempted murder. Victory was bittersweet. Media frenzy followed, dubbing Evangeline the Phoenix Architect. But emotional scars remained. In quiet moments they healed. Therapy sessions addressed trust issues. "We both suffered," Evangeline admitted. Miriam nodded. "But we're stronger now." As summer bloomed, they renewed vows in a private ceremony on the Hudson, friends witnessing. Hope flickered, but the story wasn't over. Deeper conflicts simmered. With Lang behind bars, Evangeline and Miriam tried to rebuild. They bought a brownstone in Park Slope, filling it with art and plants. Evangeline's firm thrived, partnering with the city on affordable housing. Miriam won a Pulitzer for her expanded exposé. Yet cracks appeared. Evangeline's nightmares of that night persisted, waking her screaming. Miriam, patient at first, grew frustrated. "You push me away when I try to help." "I'm trying," Evangeline snapped. Work consumed her, a shield against vulnerability. Miriam felt neglected. Old friends whispered, "She's changed, too powerful, too distant." Doubt resurfaced. Enter Sophia, Evangeline's new business partner from San Francisco. A sharp, charismatic woman with a shared vision. Their late nights brainstorming sparked rumors. Miriam, insecure, checked Evangeline's phone one night, finding flirty texts from Sophia. "Can't wait for our next adventure, winky face." Confrontation erupted in their kitchen. "Who is she?" Miriam demanded, waving the phone. Evangeline, exhausted, explained, "Just business. The emoji's harmless. But it hurts. After everything, how can I trust?" The fight escalated. Evangeline stormed out, seeking solace at a bar. Sophia met her there, coincidentally. Drinks flowed, confessions shared. In a moment of weakness, Evangeline kissed Sophia. Brief, regretful. Guilt consumed her. She confessed to Miriam the next day. "It meant nothing. I was lost." Miriam's world shattered. "Betrayal again? I waited 3 years." She packed a bag, leaving for her sisters in Queens. "I need space." Evangeline alone spiraled. She threw herself into philanthropy, donating to LGBTQ+ shelters, channeling pain into purpose. Friends urged reconciliation. "You two are meant to be." Miriam, at her sisters, reflected. Journaling revealed her own fears, abandonment from childhood, amplified by Evangeline's disappearance. "I pushed her away too." Weeks passed. Evangeline sent letters, poetic apologies, promises of change. "You're my home, Miriam." Touched, Miriam returned. "We both messed up. Therapy together." They committed, sessions unraveling layers. Evangeline admitted power's isolation. "I built walls to survive," Miriam shared. "I feared losing you again." Healing progressed. They traveled to California, revisiting Evangeline's exile spots. In San Francisco, Evangeline introduced Miriam to Sarah, clarifying past. But drama peaked when Sophia, spurned, leaked company secrets to rivals, sabotaging a deal. Evangeline suspected revenge. "She used me." Miriam stood by her. "We'll rebuild." The scandal hit headlines. Eco firm's internal betrayal. Evangeline's reputation wobbled, but with Miriam's investigative skills, they exposed Sophia's fraud. Triumph strengthened them. In a romantic gesture, Evangeline proposed on the Brooklyn Bridge at dawn. "Marry me, Miriam. Let's claim our future." Tears flowing, Miriam accepted. "Yes, forever." Wedding planning brought joy. Venue in the botanical gardens, vows heartfelt. Families blended, celebrating diversity. Yet a final twist. Lang from prison sent a letter threatening revenge through associates. Fear resurfaced, but they faced it united. As the wedding neared, Evangeline reflected. From ashes we rose. Miriam smiled. Together. The wedding day arrived under a canopy of blooming magnolias in the Brooklyn Botanic Garden. Evangeline, in a white suit with lace accents, waited at the altar, nerves fluttering like butterflies. Miriam walked down the aisle in a flowing ivory gown. Her eyes locked on Evangeline's, a symbol of enduring love. Vows exchanged. In disappearance and return, betrayal and forgiveness, I choose you, Evangeline said. I choose us through every storm, Miriam replied. Guests cheered, friends from their past, colleagues, family. The reception buzzed with jazz music, toasts raising glasses to resilience. Honeymoon in Hawaii brought peace. Beaches, hikes, intimate talks. We've come so far, Miriam mused, watching the sunset. Yes, but life's not perfect, Evangeline agreed. We'll keep fighting. Back in New York, they adopted a rescue dog, symbolizing new beginnings. Evangeline's firm launched a foundation for wrongfully accused women. Inspired by her ordeal, Miriam mentored young journalists, emphasizing ethics. Years passed. Challenges arose, a health scare for Miriam's mother, business setbacks, but they navigated with grace. Their love deepened, a beacon for others in the LGBTQ+ community. One evening, 5 years post-return, they hosted a fundraiser. A young woman approached. Your story saved me. I escaped an abusive situation because of your foundation. Tears in her eyes, Evangeline hugged her. That's why we share it. Miriam squeezed her hand. Humanity in the pain. As they aged, their brownstone became a hub for gatherings. Grandnieces and nephews visited, hearing tales of Aunt Evie's adventure. In quiet moments, they reflected on the night that started it all. If I hadn't left, Evangeline pondered. We wouldn't be this strong, Miriam finished. The end came not in tragedy, but in quiet fulfillment. Decades later, Evangeline passed first, peacefully in her sleep. Miriam, holding her hand, whispered, Wait for me. Miriam lived on, writing their memoir. Vanished and reclaimed. It became a bestseller, inspiring countless. At her funeral, the community gathered. They taught us love's power, a speaker said. Their legacy. A world touched by compassion, proving that from betrayal blooms redemption, and love, in its truest form, endures. In the end, it was a story of humanity. Flawed, beautiful, American in its grit and hope.